opened a Dr. Pepper because I was hungry and I wanted my caffeine, but...
Wait, you opened a Dr. Pepper because you were hungry?
Yes. If I ate every time I was hungry, I'd be even fatter than I am now.
Welcome to Creating Connections Podcast, episode number 81.
I knew what I was walking into, but I thought I'd just say it anyhow.
She never knows when I'm recording.
No, I knew. I saw it. Yes, I can't just eat all the time, okay? So yes, sometimes I drink diet soda so that it fills me up.
I drink because I'm hungry.
Though that drink comes later. That's my after-dinner dessert.
I'm Gittimer Certified Advisor, Mitch Taylor.
And I'm Certified Personality Trainer, Vicki Musney.
Can you believe we've done 81 podcasts? Creating Connections for Event Pros has 81 podcasts.
I'm pretty proud of us.
Crazy. So we had an amazing experience just this past week. And we got a chance to be a part of the TV show Remade in California. Vicki and I were each featured on 2 different segments. And mine spoke about how you need to think like a networker when you find yourself out of a job.
Mm-hmm.
You need to reassess your career and where you're moving to. And that was my segment. Vicki?
Guess what mine was about? Personalities.
Exactly. And so we learned some lessons, and we'll share those with you after the break.
That was nice and easy.
What are you talking about? This also speaks to a much bigger issue.
Providing personal solutions through understanding people. This is the Creating Connections Podcast with Gittimer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor and Certified Personality Trainer Vicki Musney.
Welcome back to Creating Connections Podcast, episode number 81. We're going to dive right into the meat, the content here today. We recently had the pleasure of appearing on the TV show Remade in California with Pat Pattison, and it was a great experience, I felt.
It was a real learning experience for both of us.
And that show will appear on Monday, October 17th. If you're in California, you can watch us. Just check your local listings for Remade in California. We actually gained some insights out of this. And you wrote a blog post recently.
I did. I tried to think of it in terms of what are the lessons that we learned, because yes, of course it was fun and it's exciting. And we get, oh yeah, we were interviewed for this TV show and how great is that? But really it was very humbling because this was a new experience. And there was a lot that we didn't really know what to expect. And even just looking back at the process of how we ended up there,
mm-hmm.
and looking back and tracing the connections back through the chain of contact was very interesting to me. And so the first kind of takeaway for me in terms of bigger life lessons was the reminder to be open, being open to new people, to new relationships, to new ideas. And whatever the next step is, I think it's easy to say, oh, well, I'm comfortable doing seminars and workshops and I'm comfortable being an MC, but that's where I draw the line. This is what I do.
Yeah.
No, I had to start writing. You and I've talked about this. I had to write because it was expected, and I've had to learn to grow into that role as a writer and an author. And it's really grown on me. And
I started as a speaker. You started as a speaker.
I did. I started as a speaker, and after 2 years of hearing people say, that was a really great seminar, where can I get your book? I finally said, okay, I'll write one. And then I've written 2 more, and it's been a really fun process. And again, a place of growth for me where I just had to be open. And this opportunity is directly related to that writing, because it came about because even though I self-published my first book, my husband actually ran into someone or met someone at a networking event and came home and was like, you should call this lady I met. Her name is Aspen. I really think you guys would like each other. And she's a local publisher and blah, blah, blah. So finally I called her and we met at her office, and she ended up publishing my second edition. Then I introduced her to you, and she published Sales for Event Pros for you.
Yep.
And around that same time, my brother and I had just co-written personalities for educators, and she did that one. And then when we came up with our Creating Connections, the 31-day guide concept, she helped us take that forward. And somewhere along the lines introduced us to a friend of hers in LA, and that led to an opportunity to get listed in the TV Guest Experts publication, which eventually landed us this opportunity.
The point is, you can't pigeonhole yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good to have tunnel vision, to just, focus on what you got to do, and that's okay. But don't be so laser focused all the time that you miss out on opportunities that are existing around you to help you grow and help you move forward and what you want to ultimately achieve in your life. What's your goal plan? What's your roadmap to get there? How are you going to get there? What opportunities will you assess and choose to act upon? The whole ROAR concept: risk, opportunity, action, reward.
And it's funny, it totally relates to that. And I was thinking about in that seminar how you give the illustration of following through instead of just following up. And because of some kind of weird technical thing, I did not actually get the first email when Aspen tried to connect us with Jackie in LA. And thankfully there was a more follow through, and eventually we did actually connect. And there's so many things that could have gone a different way. Either Aspen didn't say, hey, did you ever talk to Jackie? And I would go, wait, Jackie who? What did I miss?
Right.
And he walked us through that process and made sure we connected. Or even, picking up the phone and saying, hey, this is Vicki. Aspen said we should connect, and really reaching out. There's things that just could have happened differently, but that following through, that taking the extra step, and even saying, LA, do I really, if that's all their context, I'm in Nevada, you're in Michigan, you're even farther away.
Right.
Does it really make sense? Is anything ever going to come of this? But we took the risk.
Right.
It was worth it.
We saw the opportunity. We assessed the opportunity, decide is it worth the risk? So we decided to see the opportunity born out of risk. The risk was going or not. The opportunity existed. We took it.
Yep.
We took action on it, and then we'll reap the rewards of that down the line. We'll be able to have, ourselves on camera. We got the experience of meeting TV show producers and hosts, and
just learning what to expect.
Yeah, what goes on behind the scenes. And
how did you like wearing stage makeup for the interview?
Yes, I got to wear stage makeup. Which I thought, actually, you know what? No, I'm not going to say that here.
I was going to say, oh boy, I'm afraid. So our next point,
our next point is being prepared. Being prepared. And you're preparing for a different event, this TV appearance, but then you're also always preparing. It's like when I did my private training with Jeffrey Gitomer. And part of that private training opportunity that existed was to go in and cut a video promoting yourself as a Gitomer certified advisor and using a teleprompter and all of those things. And I was thankful.
Using teleprompters, but
I was so thankful for my training with Mark Farrell, with Bill Herman, and the acting training I've done and the comedy training I've done, because that all prepared me for that moment. And I went first. Fly back. And I went first, and everyone behind me was like, oh my God, you're good.
Because it could have been oh my God, that sucked.
And they were just dumb because they don't speak in front of crowds on a regular basis. And they haven't been under the hot lights before necessarily. Not that
because it's very different though when you're performing or when you're coaching.
Yes.
Because a lot of times the coaching side can be one-on-one.
Yes.
And there are people that are really good at that, but they can't stand up in front of a room of 1,000 and maintain composure.
Yeah.
And you know how to do both.
So preparation was huge, and myself especially, because you're talking about something that you live, eat, breathe every day, personality.
I admit it. My topic and my angle for this show was definitely easier than yours because it was just the angle that they asked you to speak on was a little bit more of a leap from what you do on your day-to-day. I mean, you were still very qualified to do it, but I think you had a harder task than I did. The show itself, for those that aren't familiar, which most of you probably aren't because it's a charter cable show in California, it's designed for people who are launching a second career. So whether their career ended and they are forced to change, or they just decided they wanted to change, but it's how do you remake yourself?
Remake.
So Mitch's task was to take his sales training and what he teaches for sales and networking and marketing and say, how do you sell yourself in that environment? Which is a little bit different than what he's normally doing, where he's teaching business owners and sales professionals how to sell themselves more effectively.
Right.
A little bit different. For me, it was just, well, how do your personality strengths and weaknesses play into putting your best foot forward in the job world? So it was a little bit more of a natural fit. But what I admired about you, Mitch, is that you're always very diligent in your preparation process. You had those speaking points so nailed down, and you knew the 3 points that you needed to hit. And especially because you started by saying, well, there's 3 points. And then the host like totally went in a different direction and did not ask you the same questions that he, said in rehearsal that he was going to. And I noticed he was actually had little note cards and wasn't always even following what was on the teleprompter. So that was interesting because I'm in the back watching her type different questions in and rolling her eyes going, wait, where did he get that one?
The show producer, same thing for you, same situation. She typed a question and he went to complete.
And he's got a mind of his own. But you were great at making sure that you hit those points, which was important because you have your audience in mind. And you said, I'm going to tell you these 3 steps. And then you got through the first one, and then he took you off, and you somehow had to naturally bring it back and make it sound like it was natural and relate it to what he said. And then he threw you off in a totally different direction for the next one.
Because that leads to our final point, which is being flexible.
Exactly.
You can't just go, well, I don't care what you're saying. I want to go ding, 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 ding. No, things happen.
Well, and preparing is different than memorizing.
And when you're creating connections, this is Creating Connections for Event Pros, our podcast. When you're creating connections, and obviously for event professionals, you work in a live environment, especially performers, especially videographers, especially photographers. You guys work in a live environment every single weekend. And I stress to my clients
too, you don't know, you have a plan.
Right.
But life happens. You have to be flexible.
The couple shows up a half hour late. That's not your fault necessarily, but it happens. How are you going to recover? And so being flexible is part of who we are and part of what you have to be comfortable with and understand and be able to go with the flow and move forward on.
And keeping your purpose in mind. For us in this instance, it was the audience of the show and the message that we are supposed to communicate with them. Bringing that into our event world, it's keeping the audience, the guests in mind, your clients, whether it's a couple or if you're doing some other type of event. For most of us, a lot of it is weddings. But keeping that focus on, this is my purpose. My purpose is to serve them, to make sure the guests have a good experience, that they don't see any weird drama or last minute changes, that they just think that everything came off how it was supposed to. That's our goal, is to provide a great event. And if you can keep that in your mind, I think it helps us to be flexible. To still be successful in it.
Yeah, I think that's extremely important for people to keep in mind, that you must remain flexible. You must be prepared for your moments, and you must be open to new ideas and to opportunities that you see around you. So keep those 3 steps in mind when you're exploring creating new connections with fellow event professionals.
Be open, be prepared, but be flexible.
Absolutely. I'm Gittimer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor.
And I'm Certified Personality Trainer Vicki Musney.
We have an upcoming sales help course starting very, very soon. In fact,
very soon.
About 9 days or so when you watch this broadcast. This podcast, I should say. October 18th, we start. If you want to get your ticket for that and explore 2 different sales meetings, the full sales meeting, see what happened when, why did we ask certain questions, what were their personality types, why did we go in that direction, how did we move to the close, how do we move through the process? All these questions and more are answered. Join us with Sales Help. Just go to saleshelp2.eventbrite.com. and you can register for that there. It's only $200. It's like $199, and you get a free bonus. Actually,
two free gifts. I like free stuff.
Yeah, 2 free gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not.
Yep.
And join us also for our upcoming appearances at Mobile Beat Las Vegas, the largest disc jockey show on the planet for mobile DJs.
Yes.
And I am so excited.
I am too.
To speak on the main stage.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey Gittimer, my sales idol, is going to be presenting with us on that Tuesday, and I speak on Wednesday following the next day. So really looking forward to that. Vicki has a brand new seminar she's debuting on marketing as well, which is going to be great. That's right before mine. So we're looking forward to that. Get your tickets at mobilebeatlasvegas.com. Is that it for the plugs today?
I think that's enough.
Okay. All right.
Good job on the commercials. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Thank you for joining us today for Creating Connections Podcast, episode 81. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Have a great week.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Creating Connections podcast with Gittimer Certified Advisor Mitch Taylor and Certified Personality Trainer Vicki Musny. For more information on providing personal solutions through understanding people better, visit creatingconnections.biz.